Early October is not normally prime time for mature bucks. They tend to lay low, mostly nocturnal. If you aren't getting daylight photos of a buck you want to hunt, it is much better to stay out of your best areas and focus on putting a few does in the freezer.
Feels good to let one fly, Davey.
There's your thing.
Yes. Dude, hey. That's a good start to the year.
The worst thing you can do now is pressure your top bucks before they are killable. With this in mind, I wait until the 4th day of the season to start hunting, and even then I play it safe, avoiding the core and sticking to the outside fringe of the Big Seven's range. It's always good to get the season started off, and this is my first hunt of the 2018 season. It's a beautiful day, and for this evening's hunt, we're going to head down to a spot that I call the Tube. I've run the trail camera down there for about a little over 2 weeks now. There's a bunch of does down there. I've got big and beastie food plots on either side of a little ditch crossing, and then there's a redneck blind that sits right on that crossing. This is the south end of the range of the buck that I've got on the top of my list right now, and it's a deer that I call the Big Seven. He showed a lot of daylight activity about a week ago up closer to the house, and we're probably a little bit less than a half a mile from that area where I was getting a lot of daylight pictures of him. So that's where we're headed. Just anything to be outside now, anything to be, in the field, seeing deer with a bow in my hand. I'm excited to get going. That buck that just came in is a deer that I have pictures of on the camera right in front of this blind. And when I first got the pictures of that deer, I thought it might have been the Lone Oak buck, a deer that I hunted last year quite a bit, but I don't think it's that deer anymore. This is a different buck. He is a 5 or 6 year old buck though, which on this farm, that definitely puts him on the target list because there aren't a whole lot of fully mature bucks on the farm this year. So before the season's over, we may end up targeting this one. Got a doe coming across the plot right now. I'm gonna whip the camera around and hopefully get a shot at her. While I was playing it safe, 40 miles to the west, Taylor Byers is making an aggressive move on a buck that has been a regular daylight visitor to Caleb's favorite clover plot.
Well, it's October 6th this evening, and to say I'm excited would be an understatement. It always feels good to get back in the swing of things. We went out a couple nights ago in this exact spot after one of 2 bucks, and unfortunately neither one of them made an appearance. But we had a camera on time-lapse down here, and I didn't want to come down here and check it just to kind of stay out of the area. I knew we were just going to be hunting here anyway just because of how consistent Louisiana was prior to the season. But much to our surprise, both bucks that we've been hunting have been in here on a consistent basis. We kind of thought that Magnet might be more of a show up and you just be in the right spot at the right time, but he's actually been frequenting this scrape that we have at 30 yards quite often. Whichever buck gives me an opportunity first is the buck I'm gonna take. Anytime you're hunting a buck you have history with, it just makes it fun, and that's exactly what we're after tonight. There's a buck behind him. Oh, there's a buck in the back corner. There's another small buck. That's that one with the half that broke off or whatever. Yeah. That's our target. Louisiana. Heck yes. Well, it was definitely a close call, but as soon as they came out in the field, the rain just picked up and it was pretty heavy, and as soon as it got to its heaviest point, they kind of just went back into the woods, but I don't know if that's the last time we'll see them. If it stops, they might pop right back into here. Definitely exciting encounter, and you never know, Magnet could pop back in, or Magnet could pop in here, or Louisiana could pop back in, you just never know.
2 of the 3 bucks come back out after the brief rain shower runs them off, but Caleb's target is not among them. "240 miles to the east, in central Illinois, Justin Hillman is also biding his time, hunting fringes and shooting does. Like the rest of us, he is impatient to start after his best buck, a giant mainframe 8-pointer that he calls Heavy. The buck started showing up during the summer, and Justin ramped up his efforts to make his hunting area as attractive as possible, hoping the giant would stay home. Now, with recent cutty-back photos of the buck and a high-pressure system following an early October weather front, Justin heads in after the buck."
All right, it's evening of October 8th. This has been the first high-pressure system that's come in. The sun's actually starting to pop through the clouds, so I think what we're going to do tonight is we're going to dive in and go after our main target buck, the deer we call Heavy. So he's a big, mature 8-point. I've got a shed from last year of him. We passed him last year at 4.5, possibly 5.5, so we're gonna give it a try tonight. The wind's perfect. See if we can possibly lay eyes on him, and you never know. We'll see what we can see.
Well, it's about 4:45. We're all set up and ready to go here. We're sitting right in this little clover pocket, so it's a real small, not even a half-acre clover plot here, but it's tucked right in some CRP. So there's 2 big draws and some really nice bedding area here behind us. There's actually a big white oak tree right in the middle of this clover spot. It's been dropping a ton of acorns this year, so these deer have been feeding on the clover and then also on the acorns here. There's actually a nice scrape under this white oak tree as well, so we've got a really nice south wind here blowing. The wind is perfect, so I'm hopeful with the sun out, as much rain as we've had, that the deer might be on their feet tonight. So I'm gonna sit back and see what we can see, but I think it's gonna be a fun evening. Okay, so we just had some does that came out of this corner and actually worked through the clover here, worked their way around to the food plot. The sun just actually went down behind the treetops here, so we're getting some nice shade in here. The temperature's actually dropped quite a bit. It actually feels pretty nice out right now. I'm excited to see what's going to happen here in the next few minutes, but we're going to hang tight and see what we see. It's Heavy. He's right on the oak tree here. He's 35 yards. Can you see him? So it's been about 30 minutes or so. We're gonna walk out here and see if we can find my arrow. Thought we heard him actually kind of make a gasp of air down that ditch, so I think he's gonna be laying right there, but let's walk out and see if we can find the arrow and check the blood. Here it is right here. Here you go. And he's pumping blood now. Here he is right there. Oh my. Wow. Just a great deer. He went about 80 yards. We actually had to get him field dressed to get him out here. He went down in a ditch and died, so I don't know what he's gonna weigh when we get him on the scales, but he is a fully mature deer. He was actually a 10-point last year, but you could just tell he had a lot of mass, had tons of potential. So as far as the hunt tonight, why it works so well, basically, I gotta give it to the cutty lynx here. So last 10 days or so, he started showing up in this little food plot right here. This is just a little clover pocket we were hunting tonight, right next to a big CRP field. Sure enough, we had a few does work out, and then happened to look across the clover field and I could see him just through the trees out feeding the clover, and he came out and he fed in one spot for about 20 minutes. So he was kind of just about had me wore down, so I had a shot at him, but we couldn't get him on camera. About 20 minutes, went by and he just stood there and fed and fed and fed. Finally, some other does came out and he ended up kind of pushing those does around, and then eventually just a last light, he walked right by us at 20 yards. So just happy to get this deer down this early. So great deer, couldn't be happier.
"300 miles to the west in southern Iowa, Owen Reigler also decides to roll the dice on a huge buck he calls Flyers. This deer lives on a farm that Owen only has permission to hunt, and the buck has a history of leaving the farm in mid-October. The ticking clock forces Owen to be more aggressive than he might otherwise be.
Hey guys, October 12th here. Still hunting a nice cold front. It's like 48 for high, and we're in here after the flyer buck. And we've already got a beautiful tan out in the field. Couldn't be more excited. It's like that time of the year where you can think about nothing except deer hunting. I try to go to work and I had to leave and go hunting, so we'll be on pins and needles all night. Yeah, I can see it moving. It's a buck. Yeah, it's that same 10, I think. Yeah, he did. That's what I thought too. I mean, I couldn't hear it, but sure looked like it.
Well, that was a fun sit, guys. Can't get much better weather than that. It was about 38, 40 degrees, so it was a lot of fun. We just seen 2 bucks. Flyer was a no-show. Tomorrow we're gonna give crabs a try, so that'll be fun. That's a nice thing about these 4 bucks are in all different areas, so you get to bounce around. You can keep every area fresh. You don't have to worry about burning anything out. So tomorrow we're gonna give crabs a try and we'll see how it goes.
That is awesome. Another beautiful evening, 40 degrees. We got a little south, it's actually a south breeze. They were forecasting a west. We got in here and it was basically due south, so we switched up to the stand, but we're after that buck I call Crabs. And you know, if you put together all the footage I got within 100 yards of this tree, you could make a whole show on it. I filmed him last year. There's a scrape on an oak right down there. I filmed him last year right there on that. And I picked up both of his sheds right here in this waterway. Cool as heck. So, I mean, we're in his home core. Got about 3 hours to set in here, so I bet we'll see a lot of deer. It's a nice night.
Just got a glimpse of him.
Well, we're down to about 45 minutes. The action seems to be heating up. We got a nice, look like a 3-year-old 10 over there. And the buck we call Page's Muzzbuck. A really nice deer. He's been in and out of the corn. We haven't been able to film him yet, but hopefully we'll show him to you here in just a minute. Yeah, here he comes right down the edge. Yeah, he's coming right down this edge right here. He's probably 65 in. Well, that's just about it for tonight. Another awesome sit, man. We've seen some nice bucks. 8 or 10 does. They're just doing what you would expect for middle October. They're just not in any hurry to go anywhere.
The evening ended without seeing Crabs, but Owen plans to hunt him every time the conditions are right. Early season can be hit or miss, rarely consistent, but when you catch the right buck on his feet in daylight, it is pure magic. 360 miles to the northeast, Josh Mersberger proves this as he heads out for an early season hunt in southern Wisconsin.
Well, we just got up into the tree and got a real nice buck. I'm not sure which buck it is, but he's walking the edge of the corn, coming right into us, so hopefully he just keeps following the corn. Got a trail right here. It's about a 10-yard shot, so we'll see what happens.
I see a white belly sticking up right there. You see him?
No.
Well, here he is. Looks like a good 9. I had pictures of him on the cutty back. I should have a picture of him right before I shot him. We're gonna get him gutted quick and get him home. So my little brother's up next.
We have seen action during late September and early October, but there is no urgency to the movement patterns of the bucks. Some are daylight active, but most are still spending their days deep in the timber, close to their beds. It is a time when they focus on acorns and avoid open places. But that will change soon enough. Every day their testosterone levels rise. Their springs wind tighter. They travel more. It is only a matter of time until the right doe or the right cold front brings an explosion of activity. The stage is set. The time is almost right. Soon we will be chasing November.